Hello, beautiful people, and thank you for stopping by my channel. We are on day 9 of Sparkmas, and I'm going to teach you how to paint these poinsettias. Let's go! I'm going to be painting on these wood slices I got from Amazon, and this is the paint I'm using: a peachy pink, a cranberry red, and like a true red. So I ended up not using the green, but it really doesn't matter what type of paint you use. I'm using just what I have on hand, which is a little of everything, as you can see. And then I also have this gold that I like to do for the center because I think that just makes it look extra Christmassy. And for these wood slices, it's pretty small, so I am using, out of all of these brushes, this brush. I would prefer if it's a little bit more pointed at the end, but this is what I got. For the slices, I have all different sizes. Some of them have cracks in them. That's just how they come, but that doesn't really bother me. Pick out your slices and we'll prep our paint next. When I'm painting flowers, I like to put the paints right next to each other because I don't typically paint just one solid color unless I'm doing like the white poinsettias. So with these poinsettias, I am adding the bright red and the cranberry red in one little palette, and then in the next one I am using the peachy pink, which I actually think that's like the most bright like pink poinsettia color, and the cranberry red. So you can do whatever color you want for your poinsettias. I start with the darkest colors in the back, and I decided to work with this medium color first, so the cranberry and the peachy pink for this one. And what you're going to do is kind of just make a leaf. And if you're struggling to make sure that your center, typically I actually paint in the center a circle. So all you have to do is paint a circle, and then around that circle you are going to paint 6 to 7 leaves. I am never super exact. It's as long as the petals are about the same. I'm not really picky about the number of them. Not for this flower anyways. And also what I love about poinsettias is that they kind of have like all these different shaped leaves, and they have a lot of them, so like that's why the number doesn't really matter. You can see how this one's getting a little bit smaller than the other one, but I don't think that really matters with this flower. So you can see sometimes I'm getting more of the cranberry, sometimes I'm getting more of the peachy pink, and I just kind of like it to mix and blend, but not completely blend together that it makes one new color, if that makes sense. Now, you can really worry about like the direction of light and highlights and lowlights and all that, but for these, I'm just making these as ornaments and coasters for my family. So, I don't know, I'm not super picky with it. And you literally just keep on making like these little pointed leaves. I keep saying leaves and not petals because to me, depending on the flower, a lot of flower petals are rounded, and so when I do a lot of leaves, I know some are rounded, I just think this is more of a leaf. Now, I ended up not using any of the green and doing leaves. If you wanted to do leaves, I would start with that in the back first, but I decided to just do the flower on these since I'm making a bunch, like I said, for my family. And then I go back through, blend any colors together if I want them to be a little bit more blended, or even add like some highlights if I think one of the petals is just like too solid of one color. I prefer the petals to vary in color. I just think they look so much more realistic that way, and it gives it kind of some dimension. So we're going to let that first layer dry, and you're going to let that sit. Don't touch it. So you can see I painted a few of them, and then I decided I wanted to paint some white ones too. So I have this ecru, I don't know how to say it, an off-white and a white color. Now, I was having a problem with it mixing too much for the color, so I was going in with a straight white, and then in my little palette I have the ecru color, the off-white. And so I would just go in with the white and then back through with the paint still wet with an off-white, just to make them a little bit more dimension, give it a little bit more color. You know, most of the time they're not a perfect white. I mean, sometimes they are pretty bright white, but it kind of gives it some shadow color as well. And I do think it helps with the one of the final steps where I go in with the detail, because I don't have a perfect off-white paint pen, but we'll get to that later. So I just wanted to show you how I did it with the whites. Now, for the second layer, you might think this is going to be really hard and fancy. No, all you do is the exact same thing, but with a slightly lighter color. So you can kind of see I have like a dark red, a medium, like cranberry color, and then more of the like pinky peachish poinsettias that you see sometimes. I think they're so pretty. And you just want to do a lighter layer, the exact same, do a smaller circle in the center, and then you're going to paint your petals in between the petals from the first layer. And that's seriously it. That's it. So I prefer when like the tip of the petal sticks out from the center just a smidge. You can do it a little bit bigger, but normally they're pretty small as they grow up top. So the layer is typically a little bit smaller unless you were going to do a ton of layers. I only do 2 layers. You know, I think you don't need to go that far out of the center because you'll just cover up your first layer. And I do apologize for the camera layer. I just progressively kept like moving everything closer to me and I didn't realize it was out of frame. So I do apologize, but hopefully you guys can still see what I'm doing. And then just like before with the first layer, I'm going to add some more highlights, some more low lights, just so it's not all one solid color. And I try to keep the petals about the same size, but it's really not that too nitpicky. I think that's what's really awesome, like I said about poinsettias, is that when they grow, the leaves kind of shoot out from all over and are all different sizes. So there's your second layer. And then for the white one, I just go in with a straight white for the top layer. If you want to add just a smidge of the off-white, I think that would look really pretty too, but I just did white. And it's really that simple. And then once the top layer is completely dry, depending on your room temperature and everything, and how thick your paint is, I'm going to then take this 4-carat gold color that I got from Counterculture DIY. You can use like any gold you want. And I'm going to take the butt of my brush, the booty, and I'm going to dip it in just a little bit of paint. And then I'm going to just make little dots in the very center of that top layer. I like my circles to be a little bit bigger, so some of them come out really, really tiny, and I normally go back in and fatten them up a bit, and just, you know, do as many as you want in the center. You can do it a lot, you can do a little. It's really that simple. And if you're saying, Sam, I can't paint, it's not that simple, I'm telling you, just try it. You might not like the way it looks. I have been doing a couple of these for this month, so I feel like I have my technique down, but I just try it. Just try it. I think you'll surprise yourself. And if you don't, wait a little bit and try again. Okay, now I'm going to take these acrylic paint markers that I got off of Amazon. Everything is linked below for my supplies. So you're going to want to pick a paint marker that is either slightly darker or slightly lighter than the color you painted. And I went back around the leaf for this one, but I actually found you just need to go from like the center of the leaf to the tip, draw a line, and then just add a little cross lines. You know how all the veins in the petals of the poinsettia, the leaves of them, they're really veiny, and I think this is what really makes this flower and makes it stand out are these little details. And this paint marker was perfect for this darker red cranberry paint that I used. So I'm just going to go around all the leaves and add in those little details. Eek, look how cute it is. And then for the final step, I like to take my black fine tip paint marker and go and highlight, I guess, all of the details. I go around all of the little dots, and then if I feel like the dots are kind of sparse and not enough, sometimes I'll just draw a little circle to kind of fill it in, and then I'm going to go over all of the leaves. I think tracing this outline makes it pop. I don't know. I love the look of this. You don't have to do this. You can be done if you want to be done. You might be ready to be done. But you're just going to go through and go around every petal. I like it when the petals kind of look like they're overlapping too. So, draw one side down farther and then leave it shorter on the other side, if that makes sense. And then I promise one more step. I like to coat it and seal it with 1 or 2 layers of Mod Podge. This is a satin finish. I recommend if you want to use like these wood slices and keep it kind of rustic to either do the matte or satin finish. And this is where I just take a bigger brush and glob a bunch of Mod Podge on it and smooth it out. You don't want a super thick layer. And like I said, you could do 1 layer, you can do 2 layers. I just think this helps for like long term to keep them from scratching. Also, if you plan on using these for coasters, because some of the wood slices are a good coaster size, I would do at least 2, maybe 3 layers of Mod Podge. Mod Podge also has like a dishwasher safe Mod Podge and an outdoor one that is really resistant and tough, but I'm just using the regular satin one. Like I said, use satin matte and just do 1 or 2 layers. It'll keep these looking great for years to come. And I lather that on all of them. And I'm going to drill holes and put ribbon on these and hang some up for ornaments and use others for coasters. But I hope you guys absolutely loved this. I really hope you try painting your own poinsettias. And if you do, please tag me on all forms of social media, a Sparkmas Sam. I would love to see it and how it turned out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know if you're a fan of this flower or if you don't have it in your home because it's toxic to pets. Just FYI. I love them, but I appreciate them at my grandparents' house because, like I said, they're toxic to my pets, so I don't have them in my house, but this is why we can paint them, so we can still have that Christmas cheer in our homes. Happy holidays. Hope to see you guys next time. Thanks, guys. Bye.